We are now live, and I'll go ahead and play our intro as I did before, and then we'll get into it. How you feeling? You ready?
Yep.
Okay, okay.
Welcome to your Colorado Springs Life and Home, where real estate meets real talk and maybe a little too much coffee. Hosted by REMAX Properties licensed realtor, broker, and top producer Lori Thompson, a local legend who's been helping military families and civilians buy and sell homes for over 40 years. Whether you're PCSing, upsizing, downsizing, or just daydreaming, Lori's got you covered. Why? Because she's your lifetime realtor. And she actually answers her phone. Imagine that.
Whether you love modern finishes or timeless charm, we're here breaking down the pros and cons of today's housing market. Welcome back, everyone. Frederick, co host and producer in the studio with REMAX Properties licensed realtor and broker, Lori Thompson. Lori, how's everything going on your end?
Oh, pretty good, Frederick. How are you doing?
Good, good, thanks. So let's dive into this. Is it better to buy a newer build or an older home in this market?
It's kind of an interesting question because there's advantages to both. With new construction, depending on what stage you get it in, you can customize a lot of the finishes to what you personally want. Older homes tend to have larger lots. So if you have a Burmese mountain dog, you probably might want an older home with a larger yard. And then you have to look at other factors as far as affordability and how long you'll be here.
Excellent. Those are some good things to take into consideration. And you mentioned customization. Other than that, or even including that, what are the biggest advantages of buying a newer build right now?
Well, with new construction, what you look at too is you can, a lot of builders right now are offering specials as far as financing. Now, typically, they require you to use their lender to get those special deals, but they can include subsidized interest rates. The interest rates have been coming down, but these home builders are helping to buy it down even further. So, depending on what it is, you could get a better interest rate than you might get in the open market. The other thing is if they have any standing inventory, they do really nice incentives on those because, of course, they have a construction loan on it and it's in their best interest to turn it over. So sometimes if they have standing inventory, you get some good specials as well.
Wow, thanks for that tip. So you mentioned earlier that older homes usually have larger yards. So my question is, how do older homes compare when it comes to character and location?
That's a great question too, because you've heard the old adage location, location, location. It really depends on their lifestyle. I have some people who want to live closer to downtown. And the closer you get to downtown, depending on the area, the pricier the homes get. I mean, they've got some beautiful neighborhoods that are turn of the century homes. Then, when you go out into the suburbs, you can get a blend of homes that are older and some that are brand new. The biggest trend that I have noticed with new construction, they tend to want to maximize their land development. So they have smaller lots and they have more convenient amenities. And I think they're appealing to a certain type of buyer who may not want to spend their weekend doing yard work. There are other people who want to put up the pergola with the outdoor lights and they love to have picnics in the backyard. So you kind of have to look at what's the best fit for my family. The other thing to know is that newer construction, they tend to have higher property taxes, and sometimes they're in metropolitan districts, which is an offset for like lights and other forms of development. So you have to look at your cost of ownership. And I really like to sit down with people and say, okay, let's look at the pros and cons. Older homes will have lower property taxes. That factors into the payment as well. So it really is depending on personal choice and lifestyle.
That's a good point. And speaking of, older homes versus newer homes and the costs that come with those, with each, are maintenance costs typically higher for older homes?
It really depends on the house. Like I'll be listing a property soon where they have meticulously maintained it since the day it was built. They have a beautiful yard. Anything that was broken was immediately fixed. And even with brand new construction, I always tell people hire an independent home inspector. And you would be surprised at some of the issues that come up even with brand new construction. So a lot of it is individualized. How has the house been maintained? Who is the builder? What is their reputation? But always, 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 whether it's an older home or a newer home, get an independent home inspection. It's some of the best money you'll ever spend. So I've seen both sides of it. Sometimes with new construction, you have to put in the fencing, the landscaping, the sprinkler system, and they usually have a warranty. Typically, it's 1 year bumper to bumper, we call it, where anything inside of the house is covered for the first year. But then your furnace and your hot water heater, they might have an independent 5 year warranty, and typically they have a 10 year structural warranty. On a resale home, you can purchase a home warranty for pre-existing homes that will cover some, but not all of the maintenance items that could arise. So once again, your home inspection will give you a really good window into what you might be facing in the future. Also, in new construction, you have to put in all the window coverings. So you have to look at how much will this landscaping cost? How much will the window coverings cost? And that's why it's really an individualized choice of what works best for different families.
That's a good point. And so, even taking into consideration that it is an individualized choice, if you can, in general, how does energy efficiency factor into the decision?
Yeah, and that's something to look into because um, the state now requires, as of January 1, 2026, that any furnace replacements have to be the 90% efficient furnaces, and that will also go into new construction. There are some builders that really specialize in energy efficiency, which can help with mortgage rates to a certain degree. So, but if you take an older home, you add extra insulation. If they've upgraded the windows, you can make an older home energy efficient. Right now, Colorado Springs Utilities offering a $50 rebate if you put in a programmable thermostat. And another really good trend that I like to see is one thing a lot of people don't understand is I like to say we are high desert with snow. We are a very arid climate. We have beautiful indigenous trees here and plants, but water conservation is really important. So a lot of people are learning more about xeriscaping, using native grasses, and doing things to keep that utility cost down.
Hmm. Thanks for clarifying that. Moving on to the topic of value, do newer builds tend to hold value differently than older homes?
That I can't. It really depends on the area. Um, I would say what is a bigger indicator of what could help with future valuation is the school district that it's in. Even though we have open enrollment, so school district makes a difference. It would really depend on location. So I would not say that newer homes necessarily appreciate any faster than older homes. A lot of it really is specific to location.
That's a good point. Thanks for that. And in closing, what advice would you give to buyers who are weighing these two options today?
Look at your lifestyle. Look at your skill set. Are you handy? How did the home inspection go? So there are a lot of people who really have an active lifestyle. They don't want to spend a lot of time working around the house or working on different projects. They might be more inclined towards new construction in a smaller lot. Then there are people who have more of a family centric lifestyle where it's more home and hearth, in which case they might be more interested in an older home. But so much of it is individualized. That's why the most important thing I can do is sit down with clients and listen to what they have to say. Not tell them what's best for them, but listen to them and then show them options.
That's true. That's true. And that was a fantastic breakdown. Thank you so much for clarifying everything for us today. And thanks for helping us navigate the choices, Lori. For
Uh,
everyone tuning in at home, thanks for joining us today, and we will catch you on the next episode.
all right. Thank you.
That's a wrap for this episode of Your Colorado Springs Life and Home. Got questions? Need advice? Just want to talk about interest rates and granite countertops? Call or text Lori at 719-332-1807. Yes, she'll really respond. Or visit LoriThompson.remax.com to get started with your lifetime realtor. Because when it comes to Colorado real estate, Lori doesn't just know the market, she is the market.